Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central, and welcome to Denied, a series dedicated to help you bring down some of the most troublesome heroes in Overwatch. In today's episode, we'll be going over Torbjorn, as many of you have had issues dealing with the Swedish dwarf and his turret. Let's get right into it and start off with explaining with what makes Torbjorn an issue.
To begin with, let's talk about the turret. Its auto lock-on is obviously an issue as it allows the turret to have a very high accuracy. On console, this is even more of an issue as aiming isn't as fast nor accurate as on PC. Sure, the turret deals less damage on console than on PC, but the swivel speed and auto lock-on still gives many console players issues. Multiple Torbjorns can be a pain to deal with, so we'll be going through how to deal with that as well later in this video. But moving on, we also have a dwarf to deal with. This makes 2 damage sources for one hero, which means more damage and more targets obviously, forcing you to approach Torbjorn in a different way than other heroes. Torbjorn himself and his rivet gun can also pump out a good chunk of damage and have a somewhat flexible effective range due to the 2 fire modes and the turret combined. Let's see how heroes can individually deal with this, and we'll talk about counterplay at the end of the video. Before we start though, one-on-oneing a Torbjorn and his turret is incredibly unlikely, and that's not the reason we go through this sort of stuff. Some heroes counter Torbjorn more than others. Our hero comparison is just here to give you an idea of what heroes will work well against certain other heroes. So let's get into it and deny Torbjorn.
So let's start with the offensive heroes. Genji can't deflect enough damage back at the turret to kill it like he can with Bastion, but because he has no damage fall off with his shurikens at a distance, he can outrange them and take them down. McCree's flashbang does in fact work on the turret, and he provides enough damage to kill a turret with his fan the hammer and then a quick melee attack. He can also shoot from a distance, but it takes a lot longer than it does for Genji because he does have damage fall off from a distance. Pharah's rockets easily find a stationary target. So long as you know where the turret is, you should do okay. But he has to either reform in or come around a corner quickly like McCree does. Approaching from medium to long range won't work. Soldier can also outrange the turret and use his heal to top himself up if needs be. However, fighting a turret on close range is not something he is great at doing. And finally, Tracer. The turret can keep track of your slippery self, so don't try and fight it up close. However, the pulse bomb can make light work of the turret so long as Torb doesn't use Molten Core to save it.
For the defending heroes, Bastion provides enough damage to burn through both the turret and the Torb, so long as he can get set up of course. Hanzo can snipe the turret from a distance, just bear in mind his ultimate will do no damage to buildables, which include the Torbjorn turret, Symmetra teleporters and sentry turrets. Junkrat can spam grenades at the turret whilst not being in sight. Just get the trajectory right and you're set. Mei can actually freeze the turret if she gets up close, stunning it for about a second. Her wall and ice block can act as a good mitigation as well, whilst she either acts as distraction or just plans to outlast the turret. Torbjorn up against another Torbjorn makes for some interesting dwarf hammer fights. Widowmaker can outrange and outgun the Torb and turret, very much a reliable counter. Even peeking around corners will get the turret down within seconds.
Now over to the tanks. First up is D.Va, who can defense matrix and take the full brunt of an attack, and she can also fly up to the turret and kill it at close range. Reinhardt can block a ridiculous amount of damage coming from the turret, and not even a Molten Core is enough to get through the projected barrier. Reinhardt's ultimate also stuns the turret as well, so do bear that in mind for future pushes with him. Roadhog can soak up damage but doesn't really have anything available to kill the turret from a distance. Winston can jump the turret and put a shield on top of it or himself. This prevents the turret from damaging him and the rest of his team whilst they can zap through the barrier. And lastly, Zarya. She can absorb a lot of the damage and alternate fire from a distance. It's kinda tricky, but it does work and is also a surefire way of getting some cheap energy from it as well.
As for supports, we start with Lucio. He can spam with his main weapon from far away if he finds a good angle, generating a lot of ultimate charge. Mercy, hard counter of course, seriously though, Mercy's Caduceus Blaster deals enough damage to take out the turret even if Torb is still repairing it. Alternatively, you can damage boost or heal an ally shooting at the turret. Symmetra can fire away orbs to generate ult charge, but can't kill the turret if Torbjorn is healing it. And finally, Zenyatta deals enough damage to kill the turret, but keep in mind that he's brittle.
So as you can see from our testing, spamming damage and outranging the turret is the way to go. You can peek around corners and fire projectiles over certain obstacles to kill the turret, whilst only taking little to no damage. However, if a Molten Core comes through, you either need to fall back or wait for the duration to be over. Block the turret damage or stun and kill the turret. Simply ignoring it or not making a decision will cost you dearly.
If we're looking at multiple Torbjorns or just a very well protected one, you need to rethink your strategy a little bit. Multiple Torbjorns set up on a first defensive point can be taken out by the likes of Widowmaker hidden behind a Reinhardt shield or simply just sniping from spawn. Junkrat spam usually work well too if you find a good spot to spam from. If we're up against a Torb defended by a Reinhardt though instead of multiple Torbjorns, you're gonna have to approach the turret in a different way. There are ways to tear through the Reinhardt shield on long distance, but sometimes you'll even be able to pick up a Winston. Our fellow scientist can even throw himself at the turret like we showed earlier, but will also be able to zap both the Reinhardt, Torb and the turret through his own barrier, forcing them to either move or do something about it. And this is when the other heroes on your team strike.
And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. We just want to give a couple of ideas on how to take down a turret. There are so many different scenarios in Overwatch that it's impossible to go through each and every one, especially when stacking heroes. Let us know how you get on and give us your own tips on how to deal with Torbjorn if you have them in the comments below. And let us know who you would like us to deny next. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time.